They called me and they said, please don't attack, we'll make a deal. That's the real truth, and everyone knows it.
The Iranians have told him something privately, and publicly they're saying quite something else.
And I think what we're seeing here is a president who has an approach to this that's just rather erratic. It's escalatory.
We're dealing with a terrible regime. Trump is the only one that's been willing to be able to put this level of pressure on them.
And with that, let's bring in our panel. Byron York, Fox News contributor, Alex Gangitano, White House reporter for Politico, and Robert Wolf, also a Fox News contributor. Thank you all for coming on. Byron, to you first. Here is the president with what might be the last chance for Iran. Watch.
We are talking right now. We're talking at the request of Iran, backed by Saudi Arabia, backed by UAE, and backed by Qatar. They all wanted to give this a last chance. This is a last chance. This is not something that, if it doesn't happen, this is a last chance for them to sign a good document.
He said last chance 3 times there. I think he went on to say it a 4th time, Byron. I find it interesting that in the intro you had Senator Mark Kelly saying that he believes the president is escalatory when the president has tried to bring this back to the table more than a half dozen times.
Well, it depends on whether Iran really believes this is the last chance, because the president has done this over and over and over again. During the course of this war, he has said we were going to hit them really, really hard, harder than they've ever been hit. But at the last minute, I've called that off. We decided to continue our talks, all of which began with opening the Strait of Hormuz, which the Iranians desperately do not want to do. So the question of where this is going is just completely up in the air, and domestically it has really served to kind of divide the president's supporters. On the one hand, opponents of the war have been unhappy the whole time, but supporters of the war have wanted the president to go in and, quote, finish the job, and now they're seeing another one of these pullbacks.
Yeah, we're hearing, as Byron says there, Alex, another pullback. But the Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson says there are no talks, at least with the United States. Listen here.
We are not currently holding negotiations with the United States. Our talks are with Oman and are focused on reaching an understanding on a route that would allow shipping traffic to safely pass through the Strait of Hormuz.
And this follows that exact same pattern, is that, you know, we say there are talks underway. Iran says, nope, no talks. We have no talks going on.
That's right. And I think that's what's frustrating for Republicans, for voters here, is this pattern. It seems like it's this continuous back and forth of the president saying, no, Trump wants, the president saying Iran wants to get back to the table with talks, and I'll hold back on hitting them very hard like I have threatened to do. And now here we are on, you know, the 5th or so time that these talks have restarted. And I think to Byron's point, there's a lot in the camp that have said, why aren't we just finishing the job and getting this done? But here we are in August, right before the midterm elections, that this could drag on, that Republicans are talking about this into September, into October. But the president today said he's not running, and he thinks he has the time he needs to do to get this done the right way.
And part of the reason, Robert Wolf, is because you have some of these Arab nations that are saying, hold on, hold. You have Axios writing here, MBS raises concerns over Trump's plan for massive Iran strikes. It goes on to write, Iran has threatened to retaliate by launching attacks against energy and infrastructure facilities in Israel and the Gulf countries. The Saudis expressed concerns and asked for clarity about the plan of action. One U.S. official told Axios. A second source with knowledge of the call said MBS urged Trump to de-escalate and refrain from launching the strikes, which is an indication that these Arab states are worried about their infrastructure, meaning they believe Iran still has a little fight left.
Well, Trace, you know, not to pour on what Byron and Alex said, but I will a little. I mean, first of all, we know that Saudi was concerned with what's happened in the Red Sea with the Houthis. So, you know, it is escalating, whether they like it or not. We know what's happened in Kuwait. We know what's happened in Jordan. We know what's happened in our ally countries. So, first of all, I think that to what everyone said, the MOU was worth the paper it's on. The ceasefires have not been real. I'm right now really concerned about what, Fox reporter Jen Griffin talked about, which was incredibly insightful, which was the munition depletion that's going on, and how long can we keep going on offense, and what will it do with the impact, God forbid something happens in Taiwan. So, I think that this has been not well thought out. And let's recall in March in Kentucky, the president said it's over. The war was over in March. So we know that there has been a lot of fact versus fiction, and we just don't know where we are today.
Yeah. Meantime, kind of coming back to this country politics here, big primary tomorrow in Michigan. The Wall Street Journal writes the following: high-stakes Michigan primary tests progressive clout and the Democratic direction. The race has featured months of infighting over what the party stands for. The battle between Abdul El Sayed, a progressive, and Rep. Haley Stevens, a four-term congresswoman, encapsulates virtually everything dividing Democrats. There has been debate over who is to blame for the 2024 election failures and the U.S. relationship with Israel. Byron York, to you, I mean, it's going to be very telling by this time tomorrow night.
Yeah, and it looks like Abdul El Sayed is going to win. I mean, he's up 10 points in the latest average of polls that I saw. And this is over the wishes of the Democratic Party structure, people like the governor, Gretchen Whitmer, outsiders who are influential in Democratic politics, like James Clyburn. I mean, they're all trying to stop this, but it's not working. Republicans, I think, are pretty happy about it because the polls do show Mike Rogers beating El Sayed, not by a lot, but a little bit better than that he would fare against Haley Stevens. So this could be a big, big thing for Republicans who are scared of losing the Senate.
Yeah, but Alex, you have, a lot of people in the Democratic Party saying, no, this is a niche movement, the whole DSA thing. And yet you have Kamala Harris coming out. I'm not going to play it, but she came out saying, let's stack the Supreme Court and maybe bring Puerto Rico and D.C. on as statehood.
Right, saying let's go even harder. If Republicans want to look at election integrity, then I want to look at D.C. and Puerto Rico. And Harris, I think, to that point, is trying this aggressive stance as a way to either counter or embrace, I'm not sure, what we've seen in New York, in Colorado, and maybe in Michigan, which is a more socialist wing of the Democratic Party getting a lot of legs here. And it's also going to be a real factor over if Democrats are interested in the amount of outside spending we've seen go into Haley Stevens, or if a grassroots organization like what El Sayed has been able to get for him is enough to win a Senate primary.
Robert Wolf, final thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think we shouldn't underestimate this populist movement. You could almost say it started with President Trump in 2016 and again in 2024, where, he was more of a nationalist populist, but these are progressive populists. And I think that if you're an incumbent today, you're probably a little nervous. And I think that affordability is front and center, and everyone's trying to say, what are these politicians doing for me? And so I wouldn't underestimate Sayed. I would think people underestimate Mamdani. And, this idea that Rogers can't wait to go against him, I think we said that for probably 8 straight years against Trump, and look what happened.
Yeah. Panel, thank you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.